Are you concerned about rising healthcare costs?
Independent pharmacists are as well. Some may soon be forced to shut their doors.
Reporter Jacqueline Lee explains their struggles and how it affects you.
When you go to fill a prescription, your ability to choose to go to a mom-and-pop pharmacy gets smaller and smaller. Why? Local pharmacists tell me it's the cost of business. Drive along Virginia State Route 172 and you'll see a sign for Poquoson Pharmacy. Step inside and you'll meet David Creasy.
So 27 years ago, I bought the store.
His store and others like it, mom and pop pharmacies, are relics in the face of ever-expanding pharmacy chains.
When you work in a community pharmacy, you literally watch people go through the stages of life and you walk with them through that.
But 4 months ago, Creasy sent out this letter to his customers.
Seeing the shelves empty is a big deal. It's a big change to see it, you know, with these empty.
He had sold his pharmacy.
Sad. I don't even have to think about it. It's sad.
And he's not the only one. According to the Virginia Department of Health Professions, across the Commonwealth, 238 pharmacies have shut their doors since 2013, many of them independently run.
The general sentiment is we're being squeezed out.
Independent pharmacies around the country blame pharmacy benefit managers, known as PBMs. A PBM serves as a middleman between insurance companies, drug makers, and pharmacies. The goal here is to lower prescription drug costs for everyone.
Some of our members that own independent pharmacies have noticed that their reimbursements have continued to decrease.
Christina Borelli is executive director of the Virginia Pharmacists Association. She says independent pharmacies around the state are reporting they're now losing money when they fill prescriptions. For example, for a 40-milligram tablet of fenofibrate, a drug used to lower high cholesterol, it cost one pharmacist about $522 to buy it. However, the PBM only reimbursed the pharmacist $458, an overall loss of $64. But let's not forget there's also the added cost of buying the labels, packaging, and any overhead.
It is squeezing us. It's hurting our bottom line, and it makes it very difficult to, often meet payroll and to pay your bills.
State Delegate Keith Hodges also runs an independent pharmacy. In the General Assembly, he said lawmakers found PBMs are reimbursing pharmacies below their cost to dispense, upcharging the insurance companies, and then keeping the profit. He said that is driving up the cost of health care.
And so the patient is suffering with higher copays, higher premiums, and often, not even taking the appropriate medication because of these high costs. So the patient ultimately suffers.
I reached out to the three largest PBMs in the industry, CVS Caremark, OptumRx, and Express Scripts, who cover 78% of the market, according to the National Community Pharmacists Association. Express Scripts tell me we reimburse fairly for prescriptions processed by all pharmacies. CVS Caremark said pushing independent pharmacies out of business makes no sense. But as more and more independent pharmacies close their doors, Creasy said it's not only disappointing, but dangerous.
That's why I think it's affecting patients, because they don't have the choice. Their ability to choose is basically going away.
Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.